Hi guys, my name is Didi. This is a tutorial video about clothing and the clothing crafting skill line. So you find these clothing stations dotted around in Tamriel. This is where you make the medium and cloth armour. Dr. Jonas, look at him, he looks amazing. I've got to work out how you become a skeleton. Anyway, so I'm going to go through this. I am currently in Davon's Watch, as you can see here. So the clothing stations are dotted in this corner. It's a little bit difficult because you have this, the bear pelt, which kind of gives you the whole of this artisan row as to where this is. But without further ado, there's a clothing table here, and there's also one in this corner here. So I'm going to go here because it'll be a bit quieter. So what happens in the clothing? So as I said, you can make medium and light armour. Your raw materials are jute, which are the flowers. You see these little flowers, yellow flowers in Tamriel. You can collect up 10 of those, and then you create them into, as it says there, 10 of these can be refined into 7 to 10 jute. So it's not like 10 raw jute become 1 jute that you can use. You take 10 jute and it becomes 7 to 10 randomly. And I think the further you go up your skill ability, the more jute you get. And Rawhide Scraps are the other one. That's for medium armour. Again, you get that from killing animals and various drops you get from when you're doing questing. Gives you some Rawhide Scraps. 10 of those can turn into 10 rawhide. You don't get any experience for taking or refining raw materials, and so I tend not to do that, to be honest, because I collect it up, but I tend not to go seeking or searching for raw materials to refine into the actual clothing, jute or rawhide, because it just takes too long. And there's a better way of doing it. If you've not watched my other video, please go and check out how to get iron gold fast, because ultimately you can come along and you can steal stuff from the vendors, and every time you go to a new city you just steal all of their stuff. Obviously don't get caught while you're doing it, but steal all of their stuff, come to one of the crafting tables, the appropriate one for whatever you've stolen, and deconstruct it. And then that breaks it down into the raw materials, or not the raw materials, but the material you can use for crafting. And yeah, it's no longer stolen, and it's yours. So it's a good way to make gold, good way to level up your crafting skill lines. So as you can see here, I've stolen a homespun hat and some rawhide boots. I'm just going to quickly deconstruct those. You'll see you do gain experience for constructing them. In the top right hand corner it says what you've got. So I've got some obsidian and some jute from that. Obviously, respectively, if I'm deconstructing light armor stuff, it's going to give me jute. If I'm deconstructing medium armor, it's going to give me rawhide. You see I've got 4 rawhide from that, and another 7. I haven't got enough to show you in this particular character, but it's worth noting that the higher level item that you deconstruct means you actually gain more experience in the crafting line according to that level of item you're deconstructing. And that's like this green item. If I was to deconstruct that, I'm going to get far more experience than if it was a standard non-green or non-fine, is actually what green items are called, piece of equipment. So if it's just a standard white item deconstructed at level 10, it's going to give me less experience than if it was a fine level 10 item. So the more stuff you deconstruct, the better. It is actually one of the fastest ways to level up your crafting line, is to use the deconstruction. So my recommendation is steal everything. As and when you do your questing, don't just sell it all. Think about how much you're going to gain from deconstructing it. Maybe you want the money, but if it's not worth any money or very little money, then come here, deconstruct it. Just take note for those ones that say they sell to the merchant for 280% more, because obviously you want to sell those to the merchant. And there are some that say, if you deconstruct me, I'll give you 280% experience more for deconstruction. Those ones definitely deconstruct. So that's the 2 things. How are you going to get your raw materials for this, but more importantly the clothing line, which I'm looking at, is refining the raw material and deconstructing equipment that you've picked up or stolen. So, crafting or creation. So there's two things, as I said earlier, with the clothing line. You can create light armor, and that is the first one. So up here, if I go to the first tab at the top, or first row I'll call it, under type, you have the various different items of the light armor, and you can see there it says chest, chest. There is no difference between these two. Chest, it is just aesthetic. And then you've got shoes, gloves, hat, breeches, epaulets and sash. Now these are all light armor, and you can see there in the description it says light armor. If you want to create the medium armor, go one to the right of that, and then you come and you see it's got the jack. So that's a little bit confusing to begin with, the fact that you'd have to scroll across here and where's medium armor in comparison to light, and who creates medium armor. It's the clothing line, you just need to move across under type. And you'll see as I move from light armor, there I've got jute in that middle row. Under material, if I move to jack, which is medium armor, it switches over to rawhide. And then you've got all the different medium armor sets, exactly the same, they're just called different things: jack, boots, braces, helmet, guards, arm cops, belt, instead of, you know, sash, epaulets, breeches, hat, gloves, shirt, shoes, etc. Now if I want to create one of these, then I need to pick the respective material. So if I'm going to create a robe, I need jute, so I need something, and it says that I need 7 to 13 jute, and I've got 40 there. So the minimum I can make with a robe is that one. It says 7. It does change between each one, so you can see there between the robe and the shirt is 7. However, shoes are 5, gloves are 5, hat is 5, breeches are 6. So you can see there, you can see that number changing there. Epaulets 5, sash 5. So you can see the number go 6, 7, 7 to 13. So what I'm going to do with this guy is I'm going to create a robe for him. Actually no, if I want to level up quickly, the best thing to make is sashes, because they are the lowest, well actually the epaulets, but generally I would make sashes because they're the lowest amount that consume the lowest number of jute that I need to, and that's kind of true across all the lines. So in terms of material then, I've got my jute. If I drop down one more using the left thumbstick, it changes from jute, and then this is the number of the material, or number of jute that you're putting to make that sash. So minimum is 5, it does then go up to 11, which it tells you above, and that's the maximum. Now, as you can see on the main screen, if I put more material into, I get a higher level item, and it maxes out at level 14, and obviously that increases the amount of armour that I'm getting from that item I'm creating. It also, the more material you put in means the more experience you gain, and as I said before, if you then deconstruct it, you gain more experience from deconstructing a higher level item. So I'm going to create a level 10. I think from my experience this is kind of somewhere halfway, like a level 10 item. You don't want to do maximum to get the most experience from actually creating something. You don't want to do maximum, you want to do it kind of medium, halfway between a base, because creating a level 1 item is going to actually learn nothing, or you experience very little, whereas creating a level 14 gives you lots, but it's not a direct relation, so you kind of want to do something in the middle. So I'm going to do a 9. Then next you have style. So these are all the different look and feels of the different items that you're creating. Now I'm a Dumner, therefore this is the one that you learn. So whatever race you are is the one that you have access to. You can find skill books around the world which enable you to learn additional styles, but you start off with just the one that you are as a race. You can see how they all look, and there's different looks, and it's difficult to see, but you can actually, the main screen is the best place to see it, but you can see the different look and feel of each of the races. So if I go hats, that's probably a good one. You can see it changing depending on who I choose, and it shows you what they look like across the different races, in case you want to, like that Khajiit one, which looks like a cat's a cat helmet, is quite cool, and you might want to try and learn that. And then you've got barbaric, which looks pretty amazing. Primal, Daedra is obviously going to be awesome, and so forth and so on. So you can learn those, as I say, as you pick up the skill books. That is yeah, it's something you'll obviously get over time. You can buy those things from the crown shop as well if you really want to. But I'm just going to create this as my own race. And then finally you've got traits, and the trait comes into play so you can add more, like a additional ability onto the actual item you're creating. So you need to research to unlock all of these, and I haven't unlocked any of them, and I'll come on how the research works in a minute. But just in terms of crafting, there it is. I've created a level 10. You can see the bottom right hand clothing skill line goes up. If I want to come and deconstruct it, that's just how I'd level up. I'd create it, then I'd deconstruct it, and equally I get my 3 back. I don't get all of it back, but I get what I put into it, get some of it back, and then I can go and create another one. I did say in my blacksmithing video, if you've got someone who you play with a lot, then it's always good to swap what you make with what they make, because you actually get more experience from deconstructing somebody else's equipment or clothing. So swap over what you create with somebody else and deconstruct, and you actually get more experience from doing that, which is pretty cool. Okay, and then I could just go back and I'm just going to create, you know, another sash, so forth and so on. Happy times. And I can, you know, create as many as I want. I could obviously go and create loads of different belts, and I'm going to do level 10 belts of Dumbler style. That's it. I'm just going to create and create and create, and then I'll come back and I'll deconstruct. And this is the best way to level up. Just keep racking through. You get stuff back. You get some stuff you don't want, like the obsidian's like, well, okay, fair enough, I've got loads of it already, as you can see with 15, so, but you get more and more things back. So I'll show you quickly actually the difference, that if I create a level 1 belt, as opposed to, you can see at the bottom right it barely moved, whereas if I create a level 14, the bottom right moves up a reasonable amount. Very, not a sizable difference, but a reasonable amount. And again, if I deconstruct the level 1, it's going to barely move in the bottom right corner. As you see, I don't think it even flickered. As level 14 goes up, you can actually visibly see it go up. So the more raw material you've got, you can just go for it. You can just keep creating stacks of these and so forth and so on, to try and get your skill leveled up higher. Why you want to get your skill leveled up higher is because the next thing I haven't talked about in terms of materials is you have different materials that you can use, and as you can see, it goes from rawhide to hide to leather to thick leather to fell hide to top. But requires tailoring too. So in order to be able to use hide, I need tailoring 2, and tailoring 2 is available in your skills. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom and keep going into crafting, then we go to clothing, and I look at that, then at the moment you can see I am in tailoring, but I need to go and put a skill point into tailoring in order to get up to tailoring 2, which I think you get access to it as and when you kind of unlock it. I'll put in the description the kind of unlocks as to, I think it's in different clothing lines. You put more and more skill points into the tailoring line, and that's, you get access to it based upon your clothing skill. So at the moment I'm skill 7. I'll put all the kind of details as to how you level up and when you can get access to put more skill points in the tailoring line to get access to better materials. Okay, so then we have improvement. So if I wanted to change, and you can see there in the middle bar, if I wanted to change my materials from normal to fine to superior to epic to legendary, you've got to put in, or you add more material, this raw material, into your different items to make them better. Generally they kind of increase, as you can see there, if I was to do it with the Redorian Archmage robes, increases the armour, it increases the amount of magicka, and it increases the critical hit. So it just kind of bumps it up overall and turns it into a much better item. There are different things that you need to actually make or change things from normal to fine to superior to epic to legendary, and they are shown above. I have at the moment 3 of the I'm not sure if they're in my inventory actually, but you've got no, so you've got let me show you. I'll just quickly craft something a bit pointless. That'll do. Actually no, let's not waste too much. Alright, so if I want to change these epaulets, ooh, sorry I shouldn't have gone out. I want to change these epaulets from standard normal up into fine. I have to use this fine, this hemming, and each different item, as you can see, uses a different ingredient. So I need to use embroidery, and actually to change it from fine to superior. But with from changing it from normal to fine, I need to use hemming, and there's different items that you use to change the quality of the goods. So, and then you can see I've got 3 hemming, which is the number next to the actual icon of hemming, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, and it increases the amount of chance I have to improve the item from, and it's 20% each number of hemming I put in, from 20 to 40 to 60, 80, and finally 100. I haven't got a 5, so I can't do it definitely guaranteed. And yeah, if you want to do it, you hit X, put the number of hemming you want in, see how it improves it. So I'm only going to get an extra, ooh, how much is that? 10, 19 armour. Yeah, no, 21 armour, which isn't great, but I'll just do it just to show you how it works. If it fails to improve, then actually it destroys the item, so just be aware of that. So chance 5, put all 5 in, you're definitely going to get it. Chance 6, might get lucky. If attempt fails, it'll be destroyed in the process. Go on then, please. Yeah, the happy sound of it going ah means I've managed it. So that's quite cool. I'll stick that on my character. Again, if I want to improve it, that's how you improve stuff. You need the raw material in order to make it happen. Finally then, research. So when we talked about creation and having a trait on the bottom there, you need to have researched that trait for that particular piece of armour in order to make it, in order to be able to actually create it. So if I look at some of these traits, like so at the moment I'm researching the gloves and I'm researching divines, so that which increases the Munda stone effects. So what it is anything you find, and if I look at something like this, anything you find, so that is my, if I show my inventory, this mage's chest armour, this one, the Redoran Archmage's robes. So anything like that which is green or has some spell effect on it, in which case this has impenetrable, increases resistance to critical hits by 140. I can then take that item, come to the research queue, and there it is. So I can use that item to research the impenetrable trait. Once I've researched it, it then becomes enabled for me to create. Where's impenetrable? There it is. So once I've researched it, I can create, not with that particular, but I'd have to use, I could then create robes that were impenetrable. I'd also have to have 1 diamond, which you can see I have there as well when I go to create it. So researching becomes really important in order to put magical effects on any of your equipment. However, it also takes a long time to actually research it. So the first research you do, I've already researched well fitted, takes 6 hours. The next research you do in that same trait line, which I would also call like the same armour line, so this is the robe, takes 12 hours, and so forth and so on. So as you can imagine, to research the whole trait line takes a long time. So you want to be a little bit careful which traits you research, because some of them are better than others. Like durability, fine. Critical hit resistance is actually pretty good. Armour value is really good. Sprinting, if you are a Nightblade for example, sprinting might be amazing, because you need to move around quite a lot. So well fitted becomes really useful to you. Training is also really good when you're low level, and so forth. So things like Munda stone effects, although I've got it there and I've researched it for one of my other ones, is not as important. So you don't want to have to spend well, you want to research that one quite late because it could take you 24 hours to research it, for example. Whereas if you find something really cool that's actually low level, get that researched early. And the ones that you don't want to research because it's going to take you too much time to research at a later date, I'll just deconstruct them. So, as I say, that's research. Once you've done it, once you've got one, that means that you can then come to creation, and as long as you've got the raw material, you can start to create it. So yes, I can create there, as you can see, a well-fitted, because I've researched it, in the robe line. I'm going to create a bad boy one with my almandine, which reduces the cost of sprinting by 6%. If I do that, actually, it's going to hopefully give me more experience from clothing, and equally when I come to deconstruct it, there it is. I can deconstruct that and get even more skill lines as well. That's a good point. Right, so that is the clothing line. I would recommend as much as possible that steal everything from around the various different locations, and that will help you deconstruct, give you the raw materials to help you reconstruct things, and basically make you level up faster. It does get to a point though that obviously if you're always taking low level items, that you're not going to research up as fast, but I'm pretty sure that what you steal is kind of sort of equivalent to your base level, so it done kind of the stuff that you steal does level up with you, so you're always going to get a decent amount. But anyway, I hope you find that useful. I just want to say a massive thank you to all my subscribers and everyone who likes and comments on my videos. It is massively appreciated. I'm trying to kind of give it back as such, by showing you some cool things that you can do in ESO. So yeah, I hope you find that useful. As I said, please give us a like, please subscribe, and I hope to see you in Tamriel and in the next video. Okay, take care now.